The Uncharted series is king of the set piece. The games are built around these exhilarating, impeccably choreographed scenes, each one a new way for Nathan Drake to cling to falling objects, moving vehicles, and his life. They are among the most memorable moments in all of video games, but my personal favourite Uncharted moment is not one of these grand spectacles.
Crap!
The one part that I remember most is a quiet, single minute of driving through the Madagascan wilderness in Chapter 17 of Uncharted 4. A melancholic moment of reflection, while a musical cue plays out called For Better or Worse. This scene particularly sticks in my mind because it does something quite rare for a modern AAA video game. It pulls back everything in order to make space for its score to speak. Before we talk about how it does this though, we should know what it is that the music is saying. In A Thief's End, Nate has retired from his adventurous lifestyle and settled down with his now wife Elena. He lives a normal life and keeps a normal job, promising that his globe-trotting, treasure-hunting days are over. But of course, the lure of adventure beckons him once more, this time in the form of his long-lost brother Sam, who, in typical Drake form, has found himself in some trouble which can only be solved by chasing hidden treasure. So before running off with Sam to the Scottish Highlands in search of antique pirate booty, Nate calls Elena up and instead tells her that he's off to Malaysia for a work trip. This scene is scored by a violin, playing a somber version of Nate's famous musical theme, which is accompanied by a simple piano ostinato.
Hey, hon, it's me.
Hey.
Yeah, listen, you're not gonna believe this. Jameson just walked in here with the permits.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah, I know, but it's like I'm gonna take that Malaysia job after all.
That piano melody is basically just 4 ascending notes in the key of E minor. This is the first time we hear this musical phrase, the second being when Nate's journey unexpectedly takes him to Madagascar and he follows up on the lie.
Don't rush. Make sure that you're safe.
Oh, I will. Always do. Listen, I'm sorry, I gotta go. Jameson's calling me over.
Okay.
I love you.
Love you too.
I love the way it creeps in right at the end there, similar to how guilt does after being dishonest. This reinforces that melodic idea as a leitmotif representing the lie. Considering it doesn't play in other scenes, such as the initial setup of Nate and Elena's home life, I don't really see it being a general theme representing them as a couple. When Elena inevitably cottons on and flies out to Madagascar to catch Nate in the lie, we hear that motif for a third time, and again it's towards the end of their confrontation.
You lied to me. For weeks. If you were killed, I wouldn't have even known about it. And now you have a brother. Who are you?
Come on. I'm me. Come on, it's me.
It plays for longer and more prominently here than it has previously, now that the lie has been uncovered and blown up. So by this point, the player should have made a connection between the motif and the lie, even if it is subconsciously. After this scene, the motif doesn't appear for a while, not until Elena finds Nate injured and reveals how close he was to losing her.
Thanks.
Sure.
No, I mean, thanks for saving me. Again.
I almost didn't this time.
This quick reintroduction serves as a little reminder of the situation and of the melody, and it's soon followed up by, finally, my favourite scene.
Here goes nothing.
During an elevator ride, the couple have a brief conversation, with Elena telling Nate that he should have been honest with her so they could work out the problem together.
As a team.
I know that. Really, I do. It's just,
For once, the charismatic Nathan Drake is at a loss for words. When you get to the top, you gain control of the car and drive off. But there's something different. The sound of the car engine is muffled, and the couple sit in silent contemplation, pulling your focus toward the music. A fully fleshed out theme based around the lie leitmotif, which plays out for an entire minute completely uninterrupted. This creates a space for you to dwell on the situation and share in the emotions of the characters. Because the game took the time to build a link between the lie and this piano motif, the music is able to represent the unspoken thoughts on the characters' minds, and it allows you to enter their same headspace. You can feel the tension between Nate and Elena, the guilt and the disappointment. It's obvious that this section of the game was designed to encourage this introspective mood. The simple road you follow carefully winds through the jungle, and while the scenery is no doubt beautiful, there are no incredible vistas that catch your eye, or secondary paths with hidden collectibles to distract you. As someone who likes to scour every corner of the map that I can, during this section I didn't stray from the road once, or stop and leave the car at all. This is also a rare instance for a Naughty Dog game in which the characters shut up for more than 20 seconds. In fact, they go a whole minute without any funny quip, short story, or subtle guidance that would remove you from that intended frame of mind. The very moment the music cue finishes, you get an info dump from Sully and hit a rocky chicane in the road.
Hey, Elena? Nate?
We're here, Sully. Where are you?
This scene wouldn't work nearly as well if it weren't for the other elements of the game fading away to let the music take control. You can tell because it was actually only implemented on the day one patch. If you play straight from the disc and don't update the game, the car engine is at a normal volume and the moment doesn't quite hit as hard.
Next stop, New Devon.
And this actually highlights a trend in modern AAA games that I'm not in love with. Very rarely do they give their musical scores the opportunity to do their job. Music was once the primary auditory component of a video game. There was almost always a constant loop of music playing in the background, and it didn't have much else to compete with in the audio mix, outside of the occasional sound effects. It played a vital role in delivering the intended emotion and atmosphere of the game, and that's another part of the reason why we remember the old soundtracks so fondly. But as games grew more complex, music became less important to them. The audio space had to make room for voice acting, which replaced music as the primary emotive performance in the game. As graphics improved and environments became more detailed, less imagination was required to understand where you were. Environmental noises were needed to match the details shown on screen and sell the atmosphere in a much more immersive way. The existence of any musical score runs the risk of obscuring that ambience. As a result of these developments, I feel that music can often be ignored or forgotten about nowadays as the powerful storytelling tool that it is. So to pull back the environmental sounds and voice acting and let the music dominate is actually kind of a brave choice to make in 2016. It's putting faith in the score, trusting not only that it won't break immersion or remove the audience from the moment, but also that it's able to achieve the same atmosphere as environmental ambience, the same emotional punch as the actor's performance, and tell the same story as scripted dialogue. And I think For Better or Worse is a success on all these fronts. The developers trusted the music with the space to work, and it turned what was potentially a forgettable minute of nothing much into one of the most poignant and memorable moments in the entire series. But this isn't the final time we hear that leitmotif. A little bit later, you briefly hear a variation of it, when Elena accepts Nate's apology.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Afterwards, it appears in a quick scene with the couple joking around, seemingly suggesting that they are moving on and returning to normality.
Gosh, you've got mud everywhere.
Anyone ever tell you you have a funny idea of romantic?
And then finally, it plays twice during the ending. Once when they're talking about their inability to lead a normal life, but more interestingly, right here.
It's not gonna be easy, you know.
Nothing worthwhile is. So, what do you say, Nathan Drake?
You might have noticed that it sounds a little different this time though. The second note of the phrase G is shifted up just a semitone to G sharp, which actually changes the piece from an E minor to an E major. This gives the motif a positive spin, providing a sense of happiness and hope for the couple's future. But what's interesting to me is that it's using the same leitmotif that is so strongly associated with Nate's lie. It suggests that while the couple have forgiven and moved past it, they have not forgotten, that that moment is ingrained in their relationship now. I am reminded of the Japanese practice of kintsugi, in which broken pottery is repaired using gold. The philosophy behind this art is that the breakage is an important part of the object's history, that scars of the past should be remembered and embraced, rather than hidden and forgotten about. Using the leitmotif in a major key at this moment recognizes that Nate's lie, though wrong, was an important part of the couple's shared history together. It's not that their relationship exists in spite of it, but rather was shaped and potentially even strengthened as a result of it. Something better came out of their worst. Thanks for watching. A quick announcement, GameScore Fanfare finally has an official Discord server. Everyone is invited to join using this code, or you can just click the link in the video's description box. If you pledge $1 or more per video on Patreon, you also get access to exclusive Discord channels with dedicated spaces for discussing video games, music, and video game music. I hope to see you there and look forward to getting to know you a little bit better.